Welcome back. As a boy growing up in Derby, Jack O'Connell dreamed of being a professional footballer like his grandfather, but then a knee injury put paid to his career and he thought perhaps he'd become a soldier instead.
Yes, but now with several television and film roles under his belt, including a part in the movie Unbroken, which is directed by Angelina Jolie, it seems his decision to get drama lessons instead was, what, a good one? Yes. Morning.
Anyway, his latest role is in the film Starred Up. He portrays a 19-year-old young offender who finds his way in an adult prison. We'll talk to Jack in a moment. First, here's a scene from the film.
Eric Love, 19. He's starred up, Mum.
I'm going to tell you something, all right? This is no young offender's turn now.
You have to behave, because they will kill you.
Yes, some scenes from the trailer.
You managed to find a part without swearing.
Well, that was the trailer with no dialogue, hardly any. It was very, very difficult, I can tell you, because there's an awful lot of language, isn't there?
That's correct.
And Gritty doesn't really do it justice, does it?
Well, I mean, no, I suppose not. It's British and low budget, so our tools were very limited. But I guess with that said, you know, we just had to sort of focus on truths.
And you play a young man, a 19-year-old called Eric Love, who's he's tough and had a tough life. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, yeah, I mean, we get to kind of make up his backstory, which kind of left me with a bit of a blank canvas, and I got to fill in the gaps, as it were. But yeah, the youth that I was sort of responsible for portraying. His father's already incarcerated. He's sort of, there's a void in his life. And I had this opportunity where I could explain a character like Eric as opposed to judge him or shun him. We could potentially justify people like Eric who do exist.
The screenplay is by Jonathan Asser, who worked as a sort of prison therapist. I'm just wondering, I mean, there's some really hard stuff in there and some committed by prisoners and against prisoners. How much of that do you think actually goes on behind prison walls?
Well, I mean, I guess Jonathan is proposing that he has this inside information, I guess. And, hopefully without pointing too many fingers too directly, we're just illustrating truths.
The sort of thing that can happen from
which is then concealed from, I guess, the public domain. Something that became pretty clear when I was researching myself as well, yeah.
Well, who did you speak to?
In particular, I guess just like, day-to-day characters who I might know from I guess my upbringing.
Yeah.
Right. Who've spent time in jail.
Yeah. Either that or with like-minded folk, I suppose, if there is such thing. So, and the one thing that was really stark in my research was some of the most violent characters I'd come across were very kind and genuinely friendly. So I thought that'd be nice to introduce to the role,
And it's filmed in a former prison as well. How much did that add, I mean, presumably to the whole atmosphere of
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, we heard it described as another character in the film. Very hard atmosphere, but also because we had the one isolated location, it meant that we could shoot sequentially.
It's the Crumlin Road jail in
very
Belfast,
famous.
Which has a lot of history to it, of course. Well, let's see the moment where your character, Eric, is offered some special therapy by the prison governor.
Is this one problem?
You're going to tell me what that is?
I'm just saying. Say this therapy goes well, and it changes my life, and I rehabilitate. And then you lay it on for the next geezer, and it works for him and the next. And everything's sweet, yeah? Crime rates start to come down, police got less people to nick, courts got less people to convict. Pretty soon, you're out of a job. Do you mind?
And then it all kicks off again.
I was just about to swear again.
You played a lot of hard characters. Does part of you yearn to be sort of
hard,
gentler, more romantic, softy?
I mean, the career-wise, you only sort of get what you're given to an extent, for the early part. So I guess I had to sort of work with my you know, pre-found strengths to a degree. But I certainly want to challenge myself as an actor, you know, play a range of characters, hopefully, by the end.
You're going to be in this movie. You've filmed already with Angelina Jolie, Unbroken, it's called, not out till later on this year. How do you get a role like that then? Well, you say you get what you're given,
yeah.
you've got to make an effort to get it.
Well, I guess it accumulates, because by the time Angie was cast in Unbroken, Starred Up had begun to look like Starred Up.
Right.
So then you know, my representatives could advertise that and begin to sell me with more recent work, I suppose.
And what's she like as a director?
Oh, phenomenal, yeah. And as a human as well, very consistently nice, yeah.
And you spent time, where did you film it? Was it New Zealand where you filmed it?
Australia. Close. Yeah, close.
It's remarkable. Is it the true story that's based on?
Yeah, word for word, apparently. Word for word. I mean, it's so remarkable that you have to question it, but, you know, he's
guy
still...
who survived a long time
On the
he was
raft.
an Olympic athlete or an athlete survived a long time at sea.
40-odd days, yeah. And then he was a prisoner of war, I guess, 3 times over at 4 different prison camps. And still alive now, 97, still kicking around.
Oh, wow, did you get
You're
to, and you got to meet him?
Yeah.
So he spent 40 days on a
several
raft. How about you filming that? What was that like? Was that tough as well?
I guess it was a lot more tame than
Yeah.
the experience itself, so I always had that to compare to. You know, it was never the same degree of suffering at any stage. We'd cut, I'd have a drink of water,
Yeah.
I'd survive.
Yeah.
And I always had that reassurance, whereas I guess there were times where, you know, there was nobody able to tell him, I guess, his fate. So.
Yeah. And you have to, because of the roles that you're, half the time you spend with your shirt off, you have to keep yourself in pretty good shape, don't you, Jack? Spend a lot of time in the gym, for instance?
Yeah, less and less these days.
All right.
But yeah, no, sometimes work kind of cover that for me, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a bit forced as well.
Okay.
So I'm enjoying my time off, certainly.
Good. Well, good to see you, Jack.
Enjoy
Good
it.
talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
It's okay.
Jack's film Startups in cinemas on Friday.
Yes, that's all we've got time for this morning. We're back tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock on BBC One. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.